Good afternoon. Welcome back. This is NUTN World News with William
and Chelsea.
In our top story, post-colonialism. Chelsea, what do you think about this issue?
Well, I think after the colony was liberated, many people were still persecuted or blinded from the former colonial culture because they were either dissatisfied or fond of the colonial motherland. On the other hand, because of the systems and measures made by the colonial motherland, whether they are good or bad, they really did influence these colonized countries.
Yeah, exactly. And as far as I know, Taiwan and India are two of the countries which are colonized by Japan and British respectively. Even now, these two countries have already stood alone. They still have cultures, facilities, ideology, concepts, and consciousnesses which were left by the colonizers. For example, English became one of the official languages in India and so on.
I agree, and also our homeland Taiwan. We were colonized by Japan for almost 50 years. It's true that Japan had brought a more convenient living system to Taiwan, such as the concept of time and the improvement of health habits, which made Taiwan modernize itself step by step. However, Japan has also taken away many things from Taiwan, such as the eucalyptus. Also, during the wartime, Taiwan's Aborigines, Yong, were recruited and forced to fight in places like Vietnam, which have no relationship with Taiwan.
And these colonial actions really influenced the colony in so many aspects, right?
Yes, and we have some news from our reporter. Let's see this inclusive interview.
Good morning, this is Mandy from NUTN World News. Taiwan was colonized by Japan for 50 years, and therefore, the colonizer must have brought many influences. The influences are both positive and negative. Let's hear from people who used to be under the Japanese colonization. This young lady's grandfather lived during the Komika movement. According to her statement, we can learn that her grandfather followed the movement and its ideology. Let's listen. So, what's your opinion on the impact of Japanese colonization?
For my grandfather, Japan brought some positive effects. For example, improved health habits, have reduced the mortality rates in Taiwan. Moreover, the introduction of the time awareness, like following a timetable has made the social atmosphere become disciplined. So also with the introduction of the police station, security is higher and make Taiwanese society feel more safer and more stable.
So, it turns out that Japan ruled Taiwan successfully. However, we also find a grandmother. So, let's see how she feels about Japanese colonization. What's your opinion on the impact of Japanese and colonization?
Well, I couldn't accept that took us away to be comfort women. Every girl took it for granted that we were just going to work. But it was sad to say what we had to do was totally different from what they had told us. Some girls were even adopted on their way to school. If we said no or didn't follow their requirements, they would force us by violence. How could that be so ruthless? How could the truth be so cruel? I can't have my youth back again, and the pain will never fade away. They are beasts! 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 And robbing the cypress, Taiwanese precious natural resources to be the building material of Troy. It's weird, isn't it? Using the loot to construct their so-called secret religious symbol doesn't make any sense. In a few words, They do everything except for legal things. Such behavior is complete beast! They are beasts!
Oh, don't be agitated. Thanks for the speech, so we can see the other aspect of Taiwan's influence after the colonization. Now, let's go back to William and Chelsea.
Okay, thanks Mandy. And here's our interview from the citizens in Taiwan. Yeah, obviously, we can see that though they are descendants of Taiwanese who were previously colonized, they are all holding different opinions. Some consider that Japan colonizing Taiwan is good for them, while some oppose these statements. We've invited a professor to give thoughts about this kind of situation. Let's welcome Melody.
This is Mandy from NUTN World News. With Melody, the historical professor from National University of Tainan. Good morning, Melody. I have some questions for you. Be free to share all of your thoughts with us.
I'll try the best that I can.
Right. So, what are some points that Japanese had improved in Taiwan, which you think is insignificant?
Well, through colonization, Taiwan unified its weights and measures and had monetary reform while colonized by Japan. Some of our old traditions and bad habits like being late and smoking opium were prohibited. And they also did some household surveys and land investigation. Compulsory education was implemented and some girls' schools were founded at that time. Railways, highways, water facilities, harbors, and converted rice were built and were brought by Japanese. And they helped Taiwan grow fast as an agricultural kingdom of Asia.
Wow, sounds impressive. However, despite all of this improvement Japan had brought to Taiwan, Japan also implemented some cruel repression policy to those opposed to Taiwanese. With both bad and good influence brought to Taiwan, the attitudes from Taiwanese toward Japan seems to be pulled apart. What might be the reason?
It might due to the Stockholm Syndrome, which is a condition that causes hostages to develop a psychological alliance with their captors. And as a survival strategy during captivity, people will feel threatening at the beginning, and then they'll be afraid of the captors who may take their lives. After reaching the limit of being in a life-threatening position, victims are easily feel gratitude to the captors when only given a little pity. Gradually, sympathy and empathy emerge in their mind, and victims tend to become helpers to the captors, which means that it's possible somehow victims will defend or plead for captors.
Okay, that's our Melody's thought-provoking comment. Now, let's return to William and Chelsea.
Thanks, Mandy. After discussion of the relationship between Japan and Taiwan, maybe we can have a picture of how colonization works. The same ideas happen in the following pairs of countries which we are going to talk about: India and England. Here's our next interview in India. Let's have our reporter Whitney to talk about this issue and have a live interview in Britain and India.
Thanks, William. I'm Whitney from the NUTN World News with David. He is a resident from London. So, what do you think about colonization? Do you consider it as positive or negative? Share with us about your thoughts.
Well, take the relationship between England and India was as an example. In my opinion, India achieved some good change under the colonial period of Britain. First, colonial government integrated the various India's language into one language, which is English. Before India had become the colony of Britain, there were about 1652 language, a kind of different language used in India.
Wow.
Every language was integrated in English. India can communicate much easier and could also promote the economic development between different areas. Not only was the communication problem solved by Great Britain, but also the education system and the political institution of Britain has influenced India until now.
Has the impact always been positive? Are there other issues that have resulted as a consequence of British colonial power?
The problem of bondage and exploitation is most serious issue in the sovereignty of Kashmir. So Britain seemed to stop the problem, use the best solution. The conflict wasn't easy to stop, and it's extremely hard to let broken people become unfaith again.
Yeah.
All in all, a lost Kashmir spark of India and ethnic coverage. Britain's colonization took India out of the caste system, and therefore, even nowadays, many Indians still believe that if the British didn't come to India, India wouldn't become a civilization country.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for David's comment. Also, we have invited Melody, an English professor from the National University of Tainan, to give some thoughts to support the idea. Good afternoon, Melody. So, do you agree with David about the positive influences which the British Empire brings to India through colonization?
Yes, I think Britain did help India improve their life quality in many ways. Like with the help of Britain, India eventually became unified and had their official language English. Also, Britain had weakened the caste system and had prohibited some inhumane traditions by which people from low ranks of the forerunners and women are given the opportunity to study in school. Likewise, Britain had contributed to the infrastructure in India, such as railways, telegram, water facilities, and so on.
Thanks for Melody's explicit explanation. And to make a contrast, we have also invited an Indian woman to talk about her feelings through the relationship between England and India. And she has something to say about the Kashmir conflict. Let's switch to India. Hi, Serena. So how do you feel about the territorial dispute of Kashmir?
Well, the territorial dispute of Kashmir is a long-term problem and seems never to be solved. Kashmir is always India's, I believe. Always India's. But how could the British be insanely irresponsible? They drew the boundaries which divide Kashmir, giving it to the Pakistan, and therefore planted the conflicting seeds between India and Pakistan.
Yeah.
And tourists are afraid coming here, you know. And we cannot make money. And the second, I believe that what the great British have done is to destroy India. Why? After the European countries had the Industrial Revolution and the Scientific Revolution, they got machines. So when the British introduced the steam engine, the scientific technology, and the new trade system, which I don't believe is good for India because it destroyed our agriculture and handicraft industry. And the Indian could not bear the sudden change of economic policies. Yeah, you know?
Yeah.
So, India's life is become a mess and we could not improve better. The British just robbed everything from us and wanted more. And the most important is that just left, they go away and lots of problems remain for us. It's not fair, not just, it's not fair.
Oh, okay. Wow, looks like Serena got a bit excited during the interview. But the fact of the British causing territorial dispute of Kashmir is undeniable. If England did not invade Kashmir in the first place and left it with different kinds of ethnic claims to the land, Kashmir wouldn't be such a dangerous place. Though the conflict afterward was continued by the multi-ethnic residents. We should not forget the root of this conflict. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Whitney. And as far as I was concerned, those concepts, ideas, and arguments are all caused by the colonizer of these countries, right, Chelsea?
I'm not 100% sure about that, Vivian. Why don't we ask some experts? Welcome Caesar to explain that.
Nice to meet you, Caesar. I have some questions about colonialism for you today.
Well, bring it on.
And could you tell us when and why colonialism began?
Colonialism took place in early 15th century, and when the Ottoman Empire was a great power on the land, so the European people need to find a new path to trade with Oriental people. So they just built a lot of bases overseas to store their goods.
I think colonialism influences our world a lot. So could you give us some thoughts about some colonized countries like America?
Europeans found a new land to live on, which is known as American today. In need of the land to plant crop, like sugarcane, American people took land from Indian people who lived there for centuries and lived by hunting and fishing. However, they get the land, but they do not have enough labor to plant the crop. So they make a trade named triangle trade, which European people sell mineral and crops to the European, and the European sell some product to Africans, and the black people in Africa was sold as slaves to America. These Africans were slaves to work for their American Europeans host, and they were treated as property, not as humans.
What about India? I suppose the British benefited the Indians with language, transportation, and other things.
Time went on. With the rise of the United Kingdom, technology improved a lot. So there is many new factories in Britain. But Britain is a little island, so they don't have enough resources. Then they built some colony in India. India is a huge country, so they need some railways to carry their raw materials like mineral or other stuffs. Nowadays, India people is benefited by the railway British people built, but I think it does not equal things British took.
It seems like all the colonies have become independent nowadays. Or is there any colony that is still part of these colonizers?
Of course. Have you heard about the Lutu Island?
Yes.
From 20th century, the colonizer found the nationalism become a great threat for their colony ruling. So they must find a way to deal with it. If the colonized people speak colonizers' language, lived by colonizers' culture from their childhood, they will think they are in colonizers' nation, but not their parents' nation. So this is called cultural colonization.
Wow, impressive. Is there anything else you'd like to say about colonialism?
I think people should memorize this part of history. The colonialism brought pain and wars to normal people like us. What the ruthless colonizer made does not harm the power holder, but wounded people like you and me. So I hope there is no more colonialism in my entire life and my children's life.
I totally agree with you. Thank you, Caesar, for your insightful comments. Let's return to William and Chelsea.
Okay, thanks for the comprehensive analysis. After hearing these explanations, I think we should not be that excited about this serious issue. Due to many aspects of discussion, there is no correct answer for post-colonialism. All we need to do is do our best, try to avoid these tragedies happening again in these countries. And there is no need to compare or judge which culture, ideas, or concepts are better.
Yes, but in addition to avoiding the recurrence of the tragedy and losses caused by the oppression of colonizers at that time, the countries that used to be colonizers should also compensate the colonized. The implementation of justice in the international community is something that needs to be dealt with the countries all over the world. And that's the news for today. I'm Chelsea.
I'm William.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.